This is the Weigh-In Podcast by Ben Chestnut and the occasional pop-in Sebastian Romero on this week's Takedown Thursdays, an episode presented by the Weigh-In. Well, Penn State to go to Paycom National Duels this upcoming wrestling season. In midst, we're going to talk about the transfer portal because a few names have already started hitting, and we're going to talk about real American freestyle. We're going to get all that broken down on today's epi. But nonetheless, that is what I'm going to bring to you on this Takedown Thursdays. So, that being said, that is this week's Takedown Thursday, an episode presented by the Weigh-In. So, if we jump right into this one. First of all, Penn State to Paycom National Duels. And I don't even really have an opinion quite on that yet. Like, that's absolutely going to be wild because we know how Paycom went last year. Do I think Penn State's going to win Paycom National? No, they're not. No, because you're going to be clashing with teams like Okie, who, listen, whether they like it or not, Okie's got 3 national champs, and that's 3 for sure winners in a Penn State dual meet. And you already know Penn State, the lineup's not that the lineup's not that crazy like it used to be. It's dull. You know, and you got Iowa, you got good teams coming. So let's see what happens. So the report coming now is that 4 Ivy League teams said they aren't going to go. So you've got So let's talk about what we've got going on here. So Virginia Tech, Wyoming, Arizona, Missouri, Illinois, and Lehigh have all already received automatic qualifier for it. Also receiving invitations is Penn State, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, Iowa, Ohio State, Stanford, Michigan, Iowa, Minnesota. They're expanding Paycom National Duels to more teams, and I like it. They came back this year and they just wanted to do maybe a few. They came with this season, I should say, and they kept it fairly small. But now they're opening up the Paycom National Duels, and it's going to get huge. It's going to get huge, and I like it. You know, I can't wait till they get, big numbers of Division I schools at Paycom. So right now it looks like so let's count it up. We got Virginia Tech, Wyoming, Arizona State, Missouri, Illinois, Lehigh, Penn State, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, Iowa, Ohio State, Stanford, Michigan, Iowa State, Minnesota. So we're talking 15 teams right there. 15. Oh, no. We got NC State in there too. Oh. Call for a recount, huh? So we got Virginia Tech, Wyoming, Arizona State, Missouri, Illinois, Lehigh, Penn State, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, Iowa, Ohio State, Stanford, Michigan, Iowa State, Minnesota, NC State. So 16 teams. That's a big Paycom National Duels compared to last year. 16 teams. That's going to look good. 16 teams for the Paycom National Duel. And you know what I like about this is just it's going to be really great because I don't think Penn State is going to win. I don't think it's going to be a runaway with Penn State because you're going to have – this is why Okie State lost last year. You have a lot of back-to-back wrestling. So it's a lot of – when you do tournament wrestling, it's not like – it's not the same as NCAA when you're at nationals and you can wrestle one match and then you got to wait. You get to wait a little bit. No, this is tournament wrestling. This is team tournament wrestling. When they're done, there may be a couple seconds, but you may move one mat to another mat to start wrestling. You know, it's going to be a lot of teams where there's not going to be much sitting where, everybody's going to see what you got coming. And by the end of the day, we're going to see who's still up there. It's going to be great, Paycom National Duel. I'm going to like it. It's going to be great. And people think, a lot of people are already thinking, oh, Penn State's just going to win that. That's why, I'm going to be honest with you. Whether they were invited last year or not, that's why they wanted no Penn State up there last year. Because they knew what Paycom was looking like and how good it was. You get a lot of teams. And don't forget, Virginia Tech, they're building programs. Don't forget, they done snatched Melvin and Bassett. Virginia Tech is building something over there, and who knows what's going on at Virginia Tech. That Virginia Tech may be able to come out here and really just surprise us all, come and really break this thing wide open. So another thing we talked about is the transfer portal. So let's get you some of those names. So some Hunter Garvin. He's two-time All-American. Hit the transfer portal. Braden Thompson hit the transfer portal yet again because I believe he entered last year. We got Rivera, Wisconsin's Rivera and Fudgett also hit the transfer portal. Jordan Williams back in the transfer portal. Daniel Zeppard hit the transfer portal. And NDSU, SDSU, UNC, and Air Force all joining Pac-12. So the Pac-12 wrestling has added a few you got Northern Colorado. When I say UNC, Northern Colorado is what I mean. You got a few more teams joining that Pac-12 for wrestling. Hey, it's getting nice. They're hitting it up. Transfer portal's open, so there's a lot of that going around. Tyler Knox hit the transfer portal. So you look at Stanford's losing a few. And Mitch Messenbrink won the Hodge. So, it's a real good thing. That Mitch Messenbrink was able to win the Hodge amidst what everybody. So I like to see that Mitch Messenbrink won the Hodge. I get everybody might have their doubts about the Mitch Messenbrink, but listen, it's fairly simple, man. Mitch Messenbrink had a great year, and for everybody to sit there and say what they say about Mikey Caliendo and Mitch Messenbrink had a great year, had an amazing year. Mitch Messenbrink did some great wrestling, and most should not shadow themselves to be more worried about what Mikey Caliendo didn't do. We broke it down on the pod because obviously everybody wanted our opinion, but we broke it down on the pod. With that being said, so that was one thing to. And, and that's because Mitch Messenbrink, whatever went down, it went down. But great to see him win the Hodge Trophy. That it is an elusive thing to win the Hodge Trophy. And, like I'm going to say, a lot of those Iowa fans are upset about, Mikey Caliendo didn't have to shake his hand, whatever. This is what I say. You're all mad he couldn't beat Mitch Messenbrink. It's that simple. Listen, I say this all the time. You can't get mad at the other opponent for beating your guy because you've got to do better yourself. You got to get better yourself. Iowa, Penn State, they wrestle each other. That I'm sure was not their first meeting. So, gotta do better. So if we go ahead and we talk about this this Real American Freestyle. Let's see what they got going on. You got this is one that's pretty good. Hayden Hansenel will now face Lance Palmer. Now, if you don't know, the Palmer brothers were great wrestlers. Great wrestlers. Great wrestlers. They had a film that they came out with about them. So they were great wrestlers. You have Valencia versus Sinclair. You have Snyder versus Achuan. Boom, 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 boom. There's a few things that might have already, I think that Snyder, Snyder, not Snyder, they got Snyder as a light heavyweight. So let's see. Let's see. Two. We're gonna see. Yeah, so the Snyder beat Novidan, whatever, Novidan, I believe. But Snyder just came fresh off a victory. And that's why I say Real American Freestyle is doing, they're doing good stuff. It's a good thing going on with Real American Freestyle. Just don't get it twisted. They got a real good thing going. I like exactly what they're doing here because it is growing. And they're doing killer matchups too that are pretty good. So let's see if we could find some information on this on Real American. They're having events all over, and that's great. Henry Cejudo is coming up April 18th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So that's pretty good for old Kyle Snyder. Oh, Snidey. Kyle Snyder got his RAF belt. But that's what I'm telling you. So it's just Real American Freestyle is off really well, and I'm not saying it's any different than Claw because Claw is doing really well too. I've been watching that too. Claw's pretty good. So it's just I like that it is growing in the wrestling community. Now, will we start to see Real American Freestyle line up a little more bigger arenas where they will have more fans? Absolutely. I think as a wrestling fan, if you don't want to go see Real American Freestyle, I think you should. I think there's a lot you can learn, for some of those wrestlers that are in this freestyle season now. Could learn a lot. Now, watch. When I say watch, I have to clarify this because a lot of times I always get questions when I don't. When I clarify as watch, I don't say you have to go there, but I say watching watching one of their events. It could be at home, it could be there, just watching. So that's something that I'm gonna for sure clarify, is that's one thing that when I say watching, I mean, looking at it. So that's one thing that's one thing that I definitely see that, Real American Freestyle is off to a good jump. It's off to a really good jump, and I like it. But this, if we jump on back to this Paycom situation, Paycom National Duels is going to get good. Man, you're adding Penn State in there, and I'm telling you, that's how Okie State lost. Look at what they had to go through in those couple of days, and how they got beat. And you see, when Iowa faced them later in the year, it wasn't even close. Okie State wrestled very well. Now, I get you. They're going to say, well, there was no Jax Forrest. And listen, yes, you're right. And for everybody who has the Forrest doubt, he's a national champ. So everybody said at first, oh, you should have redshirted. He should have redshirted, being that he's not going to get the national title. Well, he did. He did. So, there's noise about that too. But Jax Forrest did the right thing. If you believe you're that good, do it. Now, everybody wants to compare whether Bo Bassett, listen, there's the best thing I can give you is there are different types of athletes, and it's a gamble to do something like that. And first of all, to do that, you have to line that up a while ago. For Jax Forrest, he lined it up to graduate a month early, and to graduate early from high school and wrestle up at Okie. Now, mind you, he set it up. It was what's going to happen. Do I think Bassett should do that? No, I really don't. But Bassett is a great. Should I have thought Bassett should have done that? Is what I'm. No, but Bassett's a great wrestler, but some things are not for everybody. It's a gamble, and it's a risk that some don't want to do. When you want to hit records, the most falls, the most wins, all that kind of stuff. You want to get 100 vicks. Going and only wrestling half a season doesn't really get you closer to that. But same time, it's not about 2 versus 3, 3 versus 1. It's about if somebody's a 4-time national champ, you get a national title, and you only wrestle half the season, that is considered a successful season. Plain simple. Okie State is a building program over there, and the fact that they're going to be at Paycom, and I hope that Paycom does them better this year, and not that National Duels did anything wrong. It's that how poorly they wrestled and got beat by Iowa earlier in a lot of those matches. It's not, the hopes that it doesn't happen this year, but you got the 3 Wonder Boys. That's what they got to call them, the 3 Cowboys, the 3-star Cowboys. You got Lando Urbano, you got Sergio Vega, and you got Jax Forrest that are all going to be wrestling this year. Which you got 3 national champs on one roster here, on one lineup. I get what everybody's going to say. That Penn State has had how many champions in one lineup? Yeah, they have. But now they weren't going to Paycom where you're facing all these teams you don't see in a dual meet. It's one thing to say, hey, you win a national title and you get the team trophy. It's another thing to go and get that national dual trophy. To say, hey, I beat them in a dual meet. Because you look at why this shouldn't be a thing. Listen, Penn State, every year, they beat everybody. They go undefeated, and they call themselves the dual champions. Great. Now, you're dual champions in the Big Ten. Great. But now we're talking national duels here. Can you go up against other teams that you may not see and have to wrestle day after day? And can you go and take a dual title? No. Everybody's saying, "Oh, Penn State's gonna listen." We got three straight national champs on that Okie State team, and you look at there are a lot of good wrestlers from Okie State too that they might not have placed, but it's the thing we've been looking for. So we hope they get to face each other, Okie State, Penn State. Because listen, we talked about this. Didn't we talk about this? We talked about this when we talked about Bout at the Ballpark. Remember, we said it should be like a controlled environment where we get, Penn State versus Okie State. And now Penn State is on their way to, they want to go to national duels. Hey, you know what that means? That we're going to get Penn State, Okie State. Hopefully that Okie State wrestles well and Penn State wrestles well. We get Penn State, Okie State in the final. Now that'll make a good national dual final because you got the stack of national champs. It could look good. Because what people don't understand is look at your national championship. Have you ever seen Penn State, trip to trip, go 125 to heavyweight, all finals? It probably has happened. It probably has. And you know what? Being that I just asked that question, we're going to look it up. We're going to look it up. We're going to look it up. We're going to look it up for you. No. The program has had a record 6, but never all. So 6. Now, if your 6 wrestlers can wrestle good, you'll win the dual meet. Granted that those aren't 6 decisions, and your opponent doesn't turn around and get 6 falls. I mean 5 falls or 4 falls. I'm sorry, 4 falls. You get six decisions, and your opponent goes out there and gets those 4 falls. You would hope, but when you talk about Okie State, there are 3 weights you're not going to win. 133 is one of them. I will run it down for you. And that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and tell you. We're going to go ahead and get it for you. So we're going to go ahead and get it. Let me pull it up. We're going to pull it up. I'm going to pull it up for you. And as we pull this up, because we were looking for it. I got you. 133, 141, 157. Those are three solid weights that Okie State across the board. They got it. Because you really look at this. You really look at this. Penn State has never gone 10 for 10 in the national final. And going to national duels, that's great. Every year you call yourselves dual champions in the Big Ten. Let's see how you're going to do nationally. I think it's going to be interesting because we thought, well, when I say we, I thought Okie State was going to perform very well. And unfortunately, Okie State did not perform how I thought. I was like, oh man, Okie State's they're gonna win this whole thing. They're gonna win this through and throughout. Like Okie State, they're gonna win this. As much as I thought that, they didn't. They didn't. Like I thought they were going to. They didn't. And I guess it is what it is. But they didn't. And that's Ohio State won it last year. If that really tells you. And you look at Buckeye team, we got to see how many other wrestlers into the transfer portal, because then that'll kind of give us because there's some good wrestlers out there that if you snatch the right guys on your team, it's draft season. They're gonna get calls. People are gonna start drafting and whatnot. They're gonna start saying, "I want you on my team," and this, that, and we'll see how it goes. Because they're gonna take calls. It's the free agency. That's the better way I should say. It's free agency of wrestling right now. How many wrestlers put themselves on the list? That's something that we really look at right now. Is it's the free agency, and that's gonna be crazy. It's one of those things where it's like it gonna get good. It gonna get good. It gonna get good. It gonna get good, y'all. So with that being said, as we've gone on about this in one of our episodes, as always, I just kind of think that wrestling season getting better when you have Pickcom National Duels that is now added, and a bunch of other stuff, even more. It's getting really good. It's getting really good. It's getting really good. You gotta sit there and say this is really getting interesting. Indeed, so, and that's one of the best ways a lot of stuff goes, is that it's as interesting as it's gonna get. But nonetheless, we are drawing into the end of this epi. I wanted to bring you this little. I call it a little epi because I don't consider these strong where it's heavy, on one thing. But I just wanted to weigh in along with this Penn State at Paycom national duels. I like it, and even if Penn State wins next year, I don't think they win the following year. I don't. I think it's going to be interesting. I think when they dual meet through, it's going to shock us. Like I thought Okie State was the best looking team out there, and I got shocked. They got beat. And the same way and then I thought, well, Iowa's got a good looking squad. Look at the way Dean Peterson was wrestling. Hold it. Ohio State won the whole thing. So Paycom is going to be just as good as Nationals. It's going to be that shocker we never knew we wanted, but we need. So with that being said, this is The Weigh-In by Benoit Chestnut and the occasional Poppin' Sebastian Merle. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, y'all. Yeah, I haven't forgot. We gotta like, comment, subscribe, share. Let's grow. We're gonna grow. Y'all already know episodes coming twice a week, every week. We don't skip. Mm-mm. No, this is the weigh-in. So, y'all, if you ain't already, if you're not subscribed and you keep watching every week, you got to get subscribed. What you doing? You got to get subscribed so that when you can get them notifications if you want to, about when we posting, so we could pop up on your feed. Wow, it's your choice. Think about it, but the episodes will be there. They're gonna keep stacking up, and you're gonna get behind. Don't say I didn't warn you. Weighing out.